If you're on YouTube, would you do me a favor? Click like, subscribe, comment, all the little YouTuber things. And if you're on Spotify, could you come over and just do that real quick for me also? I hate asking, but I also know closed mouths don't get fed. And I think that's a definite way to boost this stuff, especially in the beginning. And on that same note, I've recently gotten some thumbs downs, which makes me super excited, because when you're doing something like this in a creative kind of whatever field this is, content creation, if you only have good reviews, maybe it is really good. But in most all cases, no matter what it is, even something like Mozart's Symphony on YouTube, there's still thumbs downs on it. No matter what it is, there's a thumbs down on it. And so kind of in order for someone to feel really good and really strongly about something in a positive sense, in a way it has to have somewhat of a balancing act of someone feeling negative about it. And that's evident on TikTok. And it's, evident from when the Nepal vlogs kind of blew up. You know, it started with a kind of clickbaity catchphrase title that was, it could be perceived as mean, or the title was Poor Country, Rich Heart. And a lot of the people that commented on it that were Nepalese that didn't understand that it truly was a compliment, saying that while the country may be economically poor, the people have very rich hearts and are nice and great people, which is the contrary for a lot of countries that are rich. But because of that kind of misinterpretation, it got people in the comments. And so then it got people to not like it and feel a certain way about things. And so, I don't want to try and get people to not like something. Although I guess on TikTok it is pretty fun to get people emotional and mad over and completely irrelevant things. It's like this kind of new goal I've been doing. The example of the scissors versus nail clippers, that got, I think it's at 30,000 views or something, 100 plus comments, overnight. And people getting, why you have nothing good to say about Finn. Dude, we're talking about nail clippers. It doesn't matter. And so I don't know. There's something to that I've realized when I got the thumbs down. I noticed it the last week. And I was like, oh, this is going somewhere. This is going somewhere. Same way that getting the kind of, I don't know if the best pushback from the league here over the title of the LSD Changed My Life thing, and there being a teeny bit of drama over that, even though not really drama. I was just like, aha. In a way, any press is good press. And knowing that people are talking about it in one way or another, even if it's negatively, they're still talking about it. And then it's going to resonate with somebody. I understand that psychedelics are completely misunderstood for the most part by everybody, including myself up until 2 years ago when I tried them for the first time. And moving forward, that's going to be a topic. And because of the little pushback or drama or whatever it was, I realized that, dude, keep pressing that button. It's a subject that just interests me. And I think in the future, we're going to look back and be like, why were we viewing it like this? And why weren't we giving it a chance? Because like I said, it's just completely misunderstood, in my opinion. It's it gets viewed in the movies as these like, seeing dragons and unicorns and in this far off world and going crazy and all these kind of things. And I'm sure if you take enough and combine it with a certain thing in a certain place and you're in a certain mindset, it can be like that. But in my experiences, it's never like that. It's incredibly loving. It's incredibly thought-provoking. It's incredibly insightful. And I'm super glad and fortunate that I didn't do it until the time that I did do it, once I was 28 and in a good place, mentally, peacefully, all those kind of things. I think for as equally good and positive it can be, if you're in a terrible place mentally it can also maybe go the opposite way. But in small amounts, which is my only real experience with it, I, again, think it's much more insightful and kind of eye-opening in a certain way than people give it credit for or understand it for. And it's one of those things that it's hard to explain in words if you've never experienced. And so I just know moving forward, that'll be a thing of topic. And I truthfully, I'll be happy for that, because that's one stigma or stereotype or something that I would love to help break, even if it's just in the smallest sense, that it's not this thing that a hippie in the field is doing and seeing rainbow colors and all that stuff. Like I said, you could probably do that. You could probably get there. But that's not how I see the benefit and purpose for it. And so I don't even know how I got to here or what I'm even really saying now at this point. But click like, subscribe, and comment. I think that's what I was getting at. Yeah, fuck it. How we doing? What's going on? Let's go. This is my attempt number 3 at this episode. I recorded a little bit last night, but it was late and my mind was just kind of all over the place, and I haven't even listened to it back, but I just didn't feel great about it. Just kind of felt like I was forcing it, like I said. And it's weird now because I want to be super consistent with the podcast. And so I've given myself this thing of, I need to record every Wednesday night and then post every Thursday, which I've done, I think, for the last at least 3 months. I've done one a week for the last probably 6 or 7 months, which I'm really proud of because I've been super consistent, and normally I struggle with consistency. Even with like working out and stuff like that, I'll do really good. I'll go, well, lockdowns the last year or two have kind of thrown a wrench into that system too, but not to use it as an excuse. I'll go a few weeks on really good and then fuck off for, a week or two and then getting back into it. So I don't know. I just woke up this morning and I was like, I think we need to record this again. So this is a Thursday morning podcast. Actually, I guess it's afternoon. It's 2 p.m. now. And for all my YouTube people, if you can see it, well, first and foremost, we'll get this first. If you can see it, I got the merch in. Although I hate calling it merch. I don't know what I got the brand stuff rocking, the clothes going. And this shirt, I gotta say, obviously I'm going to be selling it, so I got to think it's dope, but this shirt is dope. I don't know how well you can see on camera. It's technically like a denim, but it's kind of a little tie-dye embroidered logo. Feels good. Comes in black, blue, and red, I think. And no, I'm still working and tweaking with some of the other things that you can see behind me. Got the pays to be nice right there. And the don't talk to strangers right there. For all my Spotify people, you got to check it out on YouTube. Let me know what you think. We're still working on a couple other. I got one other design that will be a definite staple in it. And that should be here in the next sample package. And it's sick. I just have to say, it's really sick. So I don't have these out in stores or anything yet. I'm also still working on that. But if you want something, let me know. I can figure it out. We can make it work. And I'll give you the homie hookup for pre-order. I don't really care if I make much money or anything off of it. If I only make a couple bucks, that's fine. It's advertising, baby. So, yeah, let me know. I think we got something good going on. So let's get into it. Yo, 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 welcome to Living for a Living.
Living for a living, baby. How you doing?
It's fun to drink coffee right now. You know, normally I'm drinking just sparkling water or an energy or a beer or something. But Thursday afternoon, I get to drink a little coffee. And speaking of coffee, I just got off a Zoom call with my boy Yere, who I talked about a few episodes back. He has the van. I met him in Vasa when I was playing there. He was going to be the backup quarterback, local Finnish dude. He doesn't play football anymore. He's just a badass dude who's skydiving, living a van life, also working a job while doing the van life. And he's kind of becoming like my manager, I guess you could call it. I don't know. He's helping me with some of this stuff, and I get to talk ideas, and he has some more experience with working with some of his friends that are content creators. He used to be a pro gamer. He used to do magic. I'm going to have him on the podcast at some point. The dude is a fun dude to talk to. I think he'll come to Kuopio in the next few weeks. So we got off the phone, and one of the things, like I said, I'm trying to steer this slowly but surely into a way of making a little bread off of it, you know, whether it be the clothes, whether it be the sunglasses deal, whether it be whatever. And so a thing that came to mind is always like coffee, beer, and water are three things I'm always drinking. Three things, because I don't want to sell out. You know, part of the reason I feel even weird about having merch, and saying the word merch, is because I feel like I'm selling out when I do that in a weird way. Even though I think it's dope, it's my own stuff, I really like it. There's just that, I don't know, I've been programmed or conditioned in some way to think that. And so I'm trying to get over that. And so with certain brands and stuff, I don't ever want to fucking be fake or sell out. And so I had to think, okay, what are some stuff that I use all the time that I would be down to talk about and it wouldn't be phony? And so, you know, even to be honest, the sunglasses, up until I got those, I hadn't worn sunglasses in like 2 years. My hippie mindset, from what I've heard, you know, it's good to get UV lights into your eyes and that full spectrum of things. I kind of like rocking them now. It's kind of fun. But in a way, I almost felt, I kind of did it as an experiment, to be honest. And with that, use promo code Joey15 at messyweekend.com for some sunglasses. They are dope sunglasses, though, I will admit. And I like them. I actually really like the black frames with they're almost like blue lenses. They're not super dark. They're really good for Finland, actually, because there's not a lot of sun here all the time. And so you can wear them when it's not that sunny and you're not like in the dark. It's just kind of a little bit different shade blue. Shit, I didn't plan on doing a promo thing. I promise that's not I don't even think I'm going to get money from that discount code. So maybe I will, maybe I won't. Use it if you want. If not, but the whole point I'm trying to say is, and I was going to ask for some help, is to the Finnish people or just Euro people in general, because eventually I'm going to be traveling around. If you know any either water, coffee, beer companies that would be interested in like partnering, and whether it's just free stuff or pay for views or whatever it may be, I'm just trying to kind of get the ball rolling. And those three things I really use, and I don't really have a favorite. And plus I'm going to be traveling around, so it'll be a good, I think, exposure, and you can get in before I blow up, you know what I'm saying? So the coffee right now, I'm not going to tell you what I'm drinking, but it's pretty good. I think it's Italian. So yeah, it's just exciting times. It's fun to talk to Yere, because he sees things from a different level than I do, and just makes it feel a little bit more possible in some ways. I guess I think it's possible, but it's fun when someone else believes in you, you know. And it was, I logged on, I said, look, bro, we were a Zoom call. I said, look at the shirt. And he was like, damn, dude. Like, because I'd told him last week I was getting the samples in. He was like, dude, that shirt is sick. And I'm like, yeah. I'm still working on making sure I get the right material, right design locked for some of these other ones. But this model right here is a staple. So we had a sauna party this weekend for the team, and I was rocking this shirt. This shirt smells pretty bad, to be honest. I'm wearing it after like 2 or 3 days just because I wanted to wear it on the episode. And today is laundry day, but I didn't wash it. So luckily the camera doesn't have any smell. But we were at the sauna party, and one of the younger dudes on the team, who's like, he's told me all his friends know of me because of TikTok, which is like ironic. He saw me wearing the shirt and he's like, dude, that's Living for a Living brand? And I'm like, yeah, bro. He's like, shit, that's sick. And then one of the other dudes on the team was a younger guy. He's like, where can I buy one? And I was like, oh my God, this is going how I planned. So that just, like I said, that's fun. And I'd never really set out thinking I was going to be some Kanye or anything like that, and I still don't. But I've started to get an appreciation and an enjoyment out of the idea and the creation of design and clothes and creating logos and ideas like that. And, the Pays to Be Nice is completely my own idea that started and originated because whenever I'd go through the Chipotle line back home, I'd always just be really nice to the person working there, ask them how their day's going. Hey, like really ask and really care. And a lot of people just go through, hey, white rice, chicken, treat them kind of like a robot. And you guys know, Chipotle people know they can stiff you on their rice and the meat and all that stuff. But when you're nice to them, one, they normally hook it up. And then two, if they do kind of stiff you on some rice or beans or whatever, you can, excuse me, bro, could I just have a little more rice, please? And then they're always down. And there's no like awkwardness with it. And so I would post pictures of my Chipotle bowl and they'd be fat. And normally we'd always get free chips from the dudes, It happened in Florida when I was living with Colin, which I have a really good story about Colin, but we'll get into that later in the episode. And we went to the same Chipotle probably like 4 days a week while we were working. And so they knew who we were by the, second week. And they're always giving us free chips. And I'd post my picture on my story of my bowl, and all my homies back home and would be like, dude, how does your bowl look like that? What do you say to get it looking like that? I mean, it's just like overflowing. And I was just like, bro, pays to be nice. And so then I started hashtagging or just like saying that as the caption on it, pays to be nice. And then within a month or so of doing that, a couple other of my friends would post something random like that with they got hooked up in one weird way or another, and just with the caption "pays to be nice" and tag me. And I was like, oh damn, bro, there's something to this. And it also happened when I was flying to Nepal. I was super nice to the lady at the checkout or the check-in. Yeah, how's it going? Oh, I'm doing good, blah, 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 blah. And she said, do you want a window or an aisle seat? And I was like, window, please. It's a long-ass flight from Seattle to China, 12 hours or something. She gave me a window seat in like the second row, but the first row didn't have a window seat in front of me. So I basically had first class in economy. You know, there were still three seats, but I didn't have anybody in front of me. So I'm laid out, boy. And the lady who's sitting next to me was like, hey, excuse me, how much did you have to pay for that seat? And I was like, I didn't have to pay anything. She just gave it to me. And this lady was pissed. Oh my God, I had to pay $40 extra just to be in this row. And it's no different. And I just thought to myself, man, pays to be nice, dog. And so I just like created this one with all different currencies. And I don't know, I think it's pretty sick. I got the big one, got the little one. I know I'm just plugging myself right now, but also telling stories at the same time. So I hope you like that. And then, you know, the don't talk to strangers is just kind of don't is crossed out. Talk to strangers, baby. That's how we make connections. And the amount of stories, I could probably tell 4 episodes worth of stories of random people I've met throughout travels and throughout meeting at coffee shops or whatever, from just saying what's up, giving somebody a random compliment, and it turning into something cool. It's actually an idea I have for a book I'm going to write, like a coffee table kind of book. I've kind of started it already. It's weird. I'm getting to that point in life where I'm realizing, like, dude, you can do whatever you want. Football has really shown me that, in terms of if you can do whatever you set your mind to. And I know that's super cliche, but it's true. And football's totally proven it to me. And I still want to keep playing. But I'm also now getting to that point where there's these other things, whether it be the van life, this podcast, fucking brand stuff, writing a book, writing a script, all these things that have kind of been in my mind, shit, acting, that it's like, dude, if you put your mind to it, you can do it. And football, it's, as I said, it started with that, because it was like, I didn't play until my senior year of high school, at least for varsity. Was in trouble my junior year, sophomore year hurt, didn't get recruited. I knew I wanted to go D1. I knew I could go D1. No one would give me a look. Okay, I'm going to go JUCO, and then I'm going to go do there. From there, went D1. Okay, it wasn't the right situation. Knew I had to leave. And I know I'm going to go play in Europe. It just all, like, at this point now, I've been 6 years since graduating. Not a real job. I have my own apartment, living in a foreign place. It's like what I'm doing in some people's mind is impossible. And for them, it would be impossible. And so along the lines of this brand stuff and the all the things I just mentioned, a book, the podcast, van life, whatever. Shit, it's possible, bro. It really is. And so, I mean, guess I'm always talking to myself, but also hopefully maybe someone else needs to hear this out there, Where it's like, dude, if you got something that's really in your dome that you're passionate about, start plotting and start thinking about it as it is 100% possible. And it's going to take some time, but shit, the pieces will all fall into place. You know, even right now with me out here, Vasa, my time there was kind of looked at as a failure in one way, shape, or form at the time, and even up till now. But as I'm starting to talk with Yere more, and he's getting me more in the idea of one, van life, two, some of like this content creation stuff, and moving more into that direction, and we're working together. And so maybe in 5 years, if this blows up, when and if, maybe I look back in 5 years and think, oh, I had to go there to meet Yere in order to get this thing going. Maybe not. But also then, at that time, it'll be like, oh, yeah, Vasa had to happen, even though it was kind of a failure. And so, yeah. It is what it is. It's interesting, though. It's really interesting how all that stuff has came to be. And I was listening to this podcast, Sam Harris, on Lex Friedman's podcast. And Sam Harris is like a dude who's into meditation and thinking and psychedelics and stuff like that. And I listen to his podcast every now and then. But he's a big believer of that there isn't free will, or a big non-believer of free will, maybe is a better way to put it. And I guess I've always considered that we do have free will, but after listening to him explain it, which I'm not going to do a very good job of, I would just recommend going and checking out that little excerpt of it. I maybe could be under the belief that there isn't free will. Just because when I think about stuff, I'm a big also believer of everything happens for a reason, and it's meant to happen. And just how I said the example about, oh, well, Vasa, it had to happen. And even in these situations where I've felt like I've had a choice, like when I went to junior college, I went and visited 3 different ones. So it was like I had a choice between these 3 ones. But in my mind, there wasn't, like, I knew what one I was going to. I'm not saying it was predetermined or fate. Like, there was an illusion of a choice. But I actually didn't really have a choice. I just knew that was the one. That was the right thing. And I don't think this actually, like, coincides exactly with how he believes in the lack of free will or whatever. It's just how I'm relating it to my own life. And even going to North Dakota and coming to Europe and all the moves I've made in Europe is kind of like I had a choice whether to go or not go, or I could have gone here, I could have gone there. But the way I felt about it was there was only one choice. And so, or there was only one option. Yeah, one choice, same shit. And so you can look back and say, oh, if I would have done this or I could have done that. It's like, nah, dude. I didn't. And I wasn't going to. And so it's stupid to think about it like that. And then Sam Harris's explanation for a good reason to not believe in free will then is it creates even more empathy with somebody, because a lot of people will spend their whole lives hating someone for something they did wrong to them and thinking, oh, this person did me bad and how could they do that and blah, blah, blah. And when you take the free will out of it, then it's not their choice. It's just that's how it was. And so to get mad over them doing something bad to you, they had no power in it to a degree. It needed to happen. It was going to happen. And so that's been an idea I've just been kind of thinking about, is with all of this and the road that's going down for me and all of us, we can learn from stuff and kind of put ourselves in better positions, but they're normally always going to be the option, the choice that we have to make, or that we don't have to make, really. I don't know if that really made sense to anybody but me. Let me know. On that note, I've been looking in the mirror a lot lately, and not just because I got a new t-shirt on. More so just to try and see me. And like when you look in the mirror and really look at yourself, it's just this weird concept to think of. And we see this exterior that we all have, and we have a choice of what clothes we wear and how our hair looks, and tattoos and piercings and facial hair, all these things. And it's just, but none of that is really you. You know, it's all kind of just additions to our avatars. And the more this stuff happens, it's like the more and more I feel like this shit's just a video game, or like a bit of a simulation. And I don't know what the greater, I don't know who's controlling it all. I don't know what, I'm not exactly sure. But by looking in the mirror, what I mean is we see what we want to see, and we see what we believe most of the time. It's not necessarily that we believe what we see, but we see what we believe. And so if I think I'm cute and I believe that I'm attractive, I believe I look good, like that's how I'm going to see it. And then in turn, that vibe and that thing that I'm giving off, others are going to see that also. And yeah, you're not going to be attractive to every single person or powerful or whatever the characteristic is. But then in that same way, like, I know I'm getting kind of maybe all over the place with this, but then we see ourselves in everybody else. And so if we see ourselves as beautiful and nice and kind and all these things, then we're going to tend to find those attributes in other people. And along the lines of looking in the mirror to try and see who I am, like I've literally been sitting there like staring pretty close, trying to look into my own eyes to see me. Oh, and we got some construction going on next door. So if you hear that, that's what that is. Whew. And trying to really see me, and knowing that this exterior is just an avatar. And there's some hammers too, if you're hearing that. Sorry. Damn. This finished construction, boy, they will start pounding and sawing at 8 a.m. out here. They don't give a fuck about people sleeping. People got to get off work. And so, I mean, I was woken up yesterday at like 7:30 by somebody like jackhammering outside. I'm like, don't we got some like noise ordinances? Anything like that? I don't know. I had a really good little train of thought going, and maybe the world wasn't ready to hear that because the saw and the hammers were going full-fledged. So I'm going to try and get back into it. I know I was talking about trying to really see myself in the mirror because I know just the outward appearance is an avatar. But the reason I try and see myself, because I know even my eyeballs aren't necessarily me. And just the concept of what am I? I'm not really my thoughts. I'm not technically the body. You know, where is me exactly? Because all this can change very drastically, and it doesn't necessarily make it me. It's just who, I don't know if it's in here. I don't know. Because on that train of thought, as I've been seeing and noticing people and observing people, this idea has come out that we're all the same. And I don't mean that to mean that we're all equal. I believe that, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we're all the same in the sense that we all derive from the same source in my beliefs. That essentially we're all just pieces of energy that at one point were just out in the universe that have somehow or another formed and created this body through a lot of complex ways. But at the end of the day, I am made up of the exact same thing and come from the exact same place as you and you and you and her and him and whatever. And so the whole idea that I am you, you are me, we're all just different variations of the universe having this human experience. And it's leading me to judge less and try and see things from a broader perspective and be more forgiving in certain ways, because however your life has gone, whatever cards you've been dealt, you've done your best up to this point. I've done my best up to this point. And given those scenarios, if I was you and you were me, we would have made the same choices in quotes, to get to that point. And so I wouldn't have been able to do any better if I was you, and you wouldn't have been able to do any better if you were me. And we're all just the same, you know? I noticed this because the other day, this was like 2 weekends ago, and I was walking in the park and there was a kind of like gothy couple in front of me. And I think I was judging like the dude's shoes or something, and just hair was kind of long and greasy. And as I'm saying this and as I was judging, I was like, dude, those are probably shit like other people will think about you, or those are things that I'm maybe self-conscious myself about, or not self-conscious, but you know, I wear these black Toms that have holes in them that I've had for years. I mean, at least 5 years, 6 years. They've gone everywhere in the world with me, and I love them. But I know that I'm sure people are like, why the fuck is he wearing those shoes? And you know, I'm all about the no. And so anyway, I'm laughing to myself for two reasons, because I'm kind of judging this guy over the two things that I probably feel most judged, or that I judge myself on possibly the most. And then I caught myself and I was like, dude, no, you don't know this guy's story. And for him to get into kind of the goth way, if you were him, you would be the exact same. You would be in the exact same situation. You wouldn't have done any better. And so when I say, just to clarify, when I say if I was him, I don't mean if I was in his shoes with my mind and my thing, but if I just personally was him, it would all be the same. And so, I don't know. That idea has just made it much easier for me to forgive or accept others when I either don't agree with them or I feel that someone's mean or in the wrong or rude or anything like that. It's like I wouldn't be any better if I was them. Also, hey, I don't know. I just have a few ideas for the show also of like, I always ask for calls in, of anything I say or bring up and you want me to further understand. Another idea I've been having is maybe it'd be fun to call somebody that watches the show and just have a little conversation, and then it'd be live on the podcast. And so if you'd ever want me to call you while I'm on the podcast, send me a message with your number saying you would be down for it and get you a little 5-10 minute spot here on the pod, and maybe a topic you'd want to talk about. And that could be kind of fun. I don't know. Especially like I said, with people I know, I got people in Poland, Portugal, Spain, Czech Republic, Finland, the US, all over the US that watch it. It could be, again, I'm trying to connect all these like global ties, and it could be cool for a guy in Poland to hear a guy in Portugal or vice versa, or a guy in Seattle to hear what somebody from Czech Republic thinks and to hear how they're thinking and talking and what's going on with them. So yeah, that number is, I guess you could send me a message too. +1 425 443 6928 or on Instagram. That'd be great. And yeah, I think that's good. We can move on. Man, this is going to be a weird one, but this is going to be a good one. I had the interruption with the construction. That first little part of me talking about like, comment, subscribe, and psychedelic stuff, I actually recorded after everything and then put it in the front. So editing is going to be a little weird, but should be fun. Yeah, I'm glad I redid that. I knew I needed to redo this one, man. I knew I needed to redo it. And getting into some interesting stuff here. Boy, conspiracy theorists sure know their shit lately, don't they? I think the real conspiracy theorists nowadays are the ones who believe everything that the government tells them at the exact moment the government tells them. To me, that's the conspiracy theory. Because whether it be what's been going on the last year, UFOs, I mean, literally at some point, everything gets disproven or said was a lie or, maybe something else. And the two I want to talk about, I guess mainly one, is the whole Wuhan lab leak possibility, which all of a sudden now, that was a conspiracy theory a year ago. That now is like slowly becoming one of the more accepted ideas. And even Mr. Fauci himself are talking about it. It's starting to get into the mainstream media. And it's just it's so crazy. I just don't think people really care for the most part. And so with all of the stuff in the last year, whether it be mass vaccines, their origin, whatever it may be, politics with the riots and the protests and the this and that, police brutality, cops, all the things that just get peppered in the media constantly. One day they say one thing, the next week they say another. The next week they flip-flop back to the original thing, and then they switch to maybe halfway. And so after a month, nobody has any clue what the actual truth is. And I think that's planned. And that just keeps people in this like, well, we can't believe this and we can't believe that. And you don't know what to believe this and science this, but not those scientists, and government this, but not that government. It's just, it's weird, dude. You know, and now especially with, to me, you know, the government has been lying then about UFOs for years, literally lying through their teeth. No, it doesn't. You know, we don't have any evidence. Da, 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 da. And now all of a sudden, in the last year, they release 1,000-page documents talking about UFOs. And they're just openly talking about it. CIA, Air Force officers giving eyewitness accounts. Videos are popping up left and right. I don't know what the play for that is, but that's interesting to me. All of us, yeah, like they've been lying to us for years, and now all of a sudden we're supposed to just trust exactly what they say about it all. It's like, dude, people just don't care. As long as some people are comfortable, as long as they have a new season of Game of Thrones, a new season of this, a new season of that to watch when they go home to distract themselves for the 2 hours before they go to sleep in between working and eating. Aliens, cool. Whatever, cool. And I get it. Again, as I said before, I'm not talking down to anybody, because I know if I was them, I would be in that exact same situation. And so there is no judgment. I wish people would care more, but I also understand why they don't. And they just want to get through it all. But regarding this lab leak stuff, that's the big one that I wanted to talk about. And I follow this thing on Facebook called Unbiased America. And with that even title, I'm sure it's a little biased. But they seem to always break some stuff, and they always give sources and all that stuff. But the last 2 or 3 days, they've really been posting about this. I'm just going to read a couple little excerpts from it. That breaking news: President Biden shut down effort to uncover virus origin. Shortly after taking office, President Biden shut down a State Department investigation into the origin of the pandemic. And the main reason they say that it got shut down was because it was started by basically Trump's department, and their logic and reasoning and evidence and stuff wasn't sound, and so they got rid of it because it wasn't making any sense. But then they didn't ever start a new one. You know, in the same way Trump was being fact-checked for his entire presidency, even before it. And then as soon as Biden goes into office, that website or that person, we don't need to do fact-checking anymore. And again, I know I'm going to continually repeat myself, but I feel like I have to say it. Trump's an idiot. And in my opinion, probably just as bad for the country from a relations standpoint of people. I think it's just as bad. I think he did some more things from acts and bills and things that actually mattered, that helped, but it may be hurt in terms of relationships, and especially hurt because of the way the media used it to completely polarize people and make people super emotional. And so even though I don't think he was the exact cause, he was the root of that tree of emotional insanity. The media was watering and fertilizing it big time, but with him, it still was happening. And so it's just interesting. Then the other one, my man, Mr. Fauci, he admits that the NIH money went to Wuhan lab to study whether bat viruses could be transmitted to humans. Earlier this month, Dr. Anthony Fauci was adamant when he denied having anything to do with gain-of-function research in China. Today, Fauci not only admitted that his National Institute of Health gave money to Wuhan to study whether bat viruses could be transmitted to humans, but he said it would have been a dereliction of our duty if it hadn't collaborated with the very respectable Chinese scientists at the Institute. While he insists that the $600,000 that was given to the Wuhan Institute of Virology did not fund so-called gain-of-function research, NIH Director Dr. Francis Collins said during today's hearing that we are, of course, not aware of other sources of funds or other activities they might have undertaken outside of what our approved grant allowed. Like, old Fauci's just getting thrown under the bus, boy. And just, you see him, I've seen a couple videos of him now. Oh man, he was so confident at one point, fucking strutting his stuff and poking his chest out, and now he's just like a little mouse when he talks. It's obvious to everybody that we're constantly being lied to, right? That this is all just a game. I don't know what the solution is besides not watching it, not participating. You still have to participate to a certain degree. I understand that. But getting caught up in it is just wild, man. Let's see. What's the other? Oh, yeah. Gain of function research makes a virus more transmissible and or more dangerous for humans. While Dr. Collins pointed out that the terms of the grant did not allow for such research, several virologists, experts, and fact-checkers who reviewed the description of activities at Wuhan say that it met the definition of gain-of-function research. Richard Ebright, a professor of chemical biology at Rutgers University, told the Washington Post that the Wuhan lab research funded by NIH was unequivocally gain-of-function research. And then the last one regarding this whole thing is, well, I got a couple, is new intelligence report reveals that 3 Wuhan Institute of Virology scientists became sick and required hospitalization shortly before the pandemic began. It's like, what? I don't know. It's, to me, I got to find the clip. Maybe I'll post it next one because I'm going to have to edit super quick to get this one posted. But I literally said in my podcast with Ed, like, there's no fucking way that this thing came from somebody eating a bat from a wet market. Like, how did that make any logical sense to anybody? But again, at the time, if you said something against that, you are a conspiracy theorist and blah, 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 blah. And they just make you feel like a leper and shame you into these beliefs that they just feed you. It's like 18 of the top world scientists wrote to the journal Science this month, questioning China and the World Health Organization's now highly criticized conclusion that the virus likely spread naturally from bats. They noted that there were no findings to support the theory that the virus jumped from bats, and said the theory of a lab leak was not given balanced consideration, with just 4 pages of the 313-page report devoted to it. They called for a proper investigation. Former CDC Director Robert Redfield, a virologist, said this past March that in his opinion the virus escaped from the Wuhan lab. Current CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky is not discounting the lab leak theory, saying it remains one possible explanation for the origin of the outbreak. Dr. Anthony Fauci now acknowledges that the virus could have originated in the Wuhan lab and said the possibility should be investigated further. But they also shut down the investigation that was taking place as soon as Biden got into office. Like, all of these motherfuckers are liars. I mean, liars. And again, if I was in their shoes, and not in their shoes, if I was them and I had all the same life things up, I don't blame them. I'd probably be doing the exact same thing. I would be. And I don't blame the people that just fall for this shit and eat it up. Because for whatever reasons along your life, their life, that's been the right thing to do. But I also have faith that slowly but surely we're going to wake up. And I know that's a catchphrase these days. And people are going to start realizing, like, dude, what all this and that is ain't really all this and that. And, it's... And on again, the idea of the vaccine, and speaking of the right thing to do. Maybe, just maybe, because this came up, I was doing a TikTok live and I was talking about how the bribery regarding the vaccine is just so fishy to me. And someone in the chat, I'm sorry, I have to leave. This topic is triggering me and I just know too much and I can't talk about it or something. And I'm like, oh my God, that's wild. To hear somebody admit it and say it and just being, I know way more than you, but I can't have an actual discussion about it. It's like, oh, okay. But let's just pretend that getting the shot was the right thing to do. Just because it's the right thing to do doesn't mean that people should be forced to do it. It's the right thing to do. Holding the door open for someone is the right thing to do. Then saying thank you if someone does hold the door open is the right thing to do. We're not going to force people to, hey, you motherfucker, say thank you. If you don't say thank you, we got a problem. You can't do this. You don't get to hold any doors open anymore. It's probably the right thing to do to wear a condom if you have an STD. We're not forcing any. It's probably just a right thing to do to wear a condom no matter what. Depends on what religion you are. But I would love to see people try and force that. I'm just trying to relate it like a more health. Someone will say that, the holding a door open isn't putting other people at risk. Well, STD, that's putting other people at risk. That's literally, way, way more than the old shot is. There's literal exchange of fluids for sure happening. But we're not forcing people to do that. And that's the right thing to do. I'd almost be okay with us forcing, like if we're going to start forcing people to do stuff, let's start there first. But that's just the point, is just because something is the right thing to do doesn't mean that someone has to be forced to do it. All right. I know I said I had a story about my boy Colin, which is literally one of the craziest stories I've ever heard. We talked, he told it to me for like an hour this past week. And I'm still not sure if it's true. I am sure, but it's almost hard to believe. But we're at just that hour mark right now, so I'm going to get off here and we'll save that story for next week. Little teaser. Still planning on got a little bit into conspiracy today, just kind of starting to dip our toes there. We'll get there more and more as we continue to go on. If you're curious about the shirts, let me know. We'll make it happen. If you got some ideas for brands, whether it be beer, water, Lonquero, coffee, let me know. And I think that'll do it. All right. Appreciate you guys for listening, tuning in. All the messages I get, they mean a lot, man. They're really fun to get. Alrighty. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend. Peace and much love. Holla.
Give me verse two.
Tell me, baby,
Yeah.
what's that story?
Yeah.
I've been thinking about you lately.
Yeah, come on.
Tell me, darling, what else? You're a star girl. How the fuck do you not know the deal? I've been thinking about you lately, and
What
it's
else?
got me going crazy.
What else?
I'm playing for you, baby. Listen up, listen up.
Uh-huh.
Got me thinking about you, baby. And it's happening all the time. So I'm playing for you, darling. Now listen up, listen up.
Listen up.